Welcome back to Toronto Talk Sports and More. It's your guy, NWB, and today I am pleased to be joined by Pat Lorusso from the Center of Leafs Nation and our very own Justen Williams.
Let's go, TTS. So, guys.
Also, joining us today, we have a special guest who hails from the Six. This defenseman has made quite a name for himself in the world of hockey as a member of the 2019 Spengler Cup winning team for Team Canada. And also, he has taken his talents around the world, playing in Slovakia, Finland, Latvia, and most recently, China in the KHL. Did I mention that this multiple All-Star also has some mad guitar skills? More on that later. But first, let's welcome to the show, Mathew Maoine.
Hey guys, I was a little premature on the high before. Sorry.
It's all good, mate.
It's all good. Now, Mathew, how did you get into hockey in the first place?
It's an interesting story, actually. My mom, who's of Greek descent, born in Toronto, but spent half of her life traveling between Athens and Toronto, going to school there and back and forth, took me to learn how to skate when I was around 4 years old. And when I was going there, the instructor was like, "Has he ever skated before? Like, he kind of looks like he can, play hockey. He's got a kind of different skating stride, like really low to the ground. And has he ever been into that?" My mom, obviously in Greece, hockey is not very big, so she's like, "No, not really, but I guess I can ask him if he's interested." Asked me, and I said, "Yeah." So I went into tryouts and played house league, and then made Super 7 the following year, and I played on the same team until I was 16 years old. So I was there for 10 years.
And Mathew, so who would you have fashioned your game around growing up as a kid?
That's a great question. I was trying to model myself after John Michael Lyles, Brian Rafalski. Those were the two guys that I kind of looked up to and tried to model my game after, because they were smaller defensemen, obviously in an era that was very difficult to succeed as a small defenseman. Now you see more and more guys like Krug and, a lot more smaller but skilled and fast guys that are excelling at this NHL. But back then, those were the two that I kind of looked up to. And I can't really even think of anybody else that was smaller defenseman that excelled in the 90s and 90s.
Now, Mathew, you have the unique distinction of playing hockey across 3 continents now, being North America, Europe, and Asia. What are some of the differences that you found with playing, away from home? And how do you combat homesickness as well?
Yeah, I think that with me being away from home at 16, playing in the OHL, and having billet in St. Catharines, playing for Niagara, that first year was a big learning experience for me. I was very lucky to have such amazing people that I lived with, and they really helped make me feel at home. And at that age, going to a new high school, new team, not knowing very many people, and obviously you don't have your license yet, and relying on people for rides and other teammates and things like that. You have to kind of put yourself out there. You have to be vulnerable. You have to try to make friends. And obviously you're there to play hockey, so you have to perform and do well. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure and things that you're exposed to at an early age. And I think that I was really forced to grow up at a young age. And going over to Europe wasn't that easy as well, because playing in North America and, in East Coast, when I was playing pro, everyone speaks English, everyone you can communicate to. Obviously, there's the odd player that is an import that, you're teaching some English to, but it's very easy to communicate. Everything's normal for how you're growing up, Western culture. But you're going over first year in Europe, and you're in a country that you don't really know too much about. When I was in Slovakia, I did my research and contacted some people that have played there or know about the league, and I was very surprised on how physical and how the pace was so fast there, and the fans were so intense and so passionate. And it was definitely one of my greatest memories is winning championship in Banska and the Tip Sport League in Slovakia, because first year over there, I had Michael Handzus on my team, Thomas Sorovi. I had Richard Zetnik as my D coach. I had Vladimir Osak, who was an ex-NHLer, was the head coach. So I was surrounded by, some amazing people, some really knowledgeable guys that spoke English, and in a town that really didn't speak that much English. And I learned a lot of Slovak when I was there. So it was definitely a learning experience. And then going over to Finland, I knew that it was going to be a test because Finnish hockey, and you see so many Finnish stars in the NHL now. They're getting better and better. Every country's so competitive, and there's so many young, good players in Finland. I knew that I had to get my fitness up. I had to work on my game. And again, I was lucky enough to be coached by Sami Kapanen. And we had a successful year there. It was different too there in Finland. The hockey is, physical, north-south. They're very structured, very disciplined. And, I think those 2 years in Europe really helped me make my game a little bit more focused on how I can control what I can control. Sometimes the food on the road or certain things like that, travel, bus, temperature, the lack of daylight in Finland, all these different variables that can affect your on ice. It was a learning experience because it really kind of helped me get ready for the KHL, where it's the Wild West. Well, I guess the Wild East, where anything can happen. And as far as contracts and style of play and the travel is just crazy. It takes a toll on your body. So I think everything kind of led up to there and helped me get through that first year in the KHL and kind of understand what it's about. But every year I learn something new, every league, every team that I play on. So it's I take everything as a learning experience, good or bad, just more information for me to learn about myself and to learn about how I can be better.
Awesome. Sounds like continuous improvement. I'm all about that. Now, the KHL, for our audience, stands for Continental Hockey League, and that takes in teams from Russia, Belarus, and most recently China, among others. Now, this week is bittersweet because the last weekend was meant to be the final weekend of the KHL season, but obviously the season has been put on hold due to the restrictions around coronavirus and COVID-19. Mathew, talk us through the experience of when the KHL was initially put on hold for you and the emotions that you went through at that time.
Well, I was playing in Riga at the time, and we didn't make the playoffs, so our season was over. But I actually had to go to Minsk, Belarus, to go and get my money because I played there before actually going to the Spengler Cup. We had a deal kind of worked out there, but they went into a different direction, and they wanted to save some money for the upcoming year. So they bought out a couple imports, myself, Jonas Enroth, some notable guys, and we kind of had to leave the money there. So I had to fly there and then withdraw and send my money back home. So I was actually when everything was breaking out in Europe, I was actually on the way to Minsk and flying there and flying back to Riga to try to get out of Riga to get back home before obviously the borders shut down and everything spread. But we knew of the severity in Riga about the COVID-19 because they were pretty well informed, the government, and I think they've done a great job right now shutting everything down, and they have probably the least in all the Baltic states for contracted, I guess, COVID-19 positive people.
So I guess, Mathew, how has quarantine life treated you since you kind of started back in Ontario?
It's the toughest thing is not seeing your family. That's my biggest thing. I don't necessarily miss going out for drinks or restaurant or anything like that. I'm a big family person. Growing up Greek and Italian, obviously, I was surrounded by a lot of family members, a lot of parties, a lot of barbecues and celebrations, and things like Greek Easter, where we weren't able to celebrate Easter. weren't able to celebrate birthdays and things that we kind of take pride in. And I think that's the biggest thing that I miss, but it's been okay. We're pretty thankful. My fiance and I live in Stouffville, so we have like, a backyard, and we're not stuck in a downtown apartment where you can't go outside. We're able to get out there and take our dog for a walk. So we're very thankful for the space. And I have a gym downstairs in my basement here, so I'm able to train and get everything that I need to do for my profession, but also get outside and get some vitamin D.
That's actually pretty cool. Before you came on, you actually might have caught the tail end of that. We're talking about quarantine weight gain versus like losing or whatever it is. I've lost because I have strong will and fasting powers, but some people who are Italian, who I'm not going to name names, tend to gain weight. But moving forward, you do have other talents. I saw you in the KHL, and you were singing on your little guitar there.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So show me family, or the blood that I will bleed.
How did that come to be? How did you just casually go up to the commissioner and be like, "Hey, I can sing"? Like, how did this happen? Like,
it wasn't really casual at all. They a representative from the KHL, his name is Oleg. He contacted one of my team personnel when I remember we were in St. Petersburg. And he pulls me over and he said, "Big boss from KHL." And this is in an accent, Latvian accent. I'm not going to even attempt it.
Intimidating.
Well, it's not intimidating. It's just different, right? So, I'm not intimidated anymore. But yeah, he's like, he wants to talk to you. So I'm like, okay, who is this? So he gives me the phone and he's like, "Hey, it's Oleg from KHL. We want you to play guitar in All-Star game." And I'm like, "No, I'm okay." Like, I said, I don't think I want to do this. And like, "No, come on, we're putting a lot of money into it. At least putting a lot of money. Kazan is putting a lot of money. They're doing all this stuff." And I said, "Sorry, like, I really, I can't do it. I'm not going to embarrass myself." And I said, "We have Datsuk, you have like all these guys that are legends in Russia and in the KHL." And I'm like, I don't want to do it. And a couple of weeks later, I get an unknown call on my cell phone, and it just says Russia. What? So I ghost it, and then there's a call again. So I'm like, I'm just gonna answer. So I answered, and it's Oleg again, and he's like, "Hey, like, have you thought about it?" I said, "No, I don't want to do it." So he was kind of like calling me, and then like another couple weeks passed, and he kept on calling, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it, but like if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. I want to get like, I want to make sure that the guitar's tuned beforehand. I want to make sure that like the acoustics, like how we're gonna set everything up is gonna be right, and we're gonna do it like the best of our ability with what we have in the rink and the guitar." I wasn't gonna travel with my guitar to Kazan, so I'm like, you guys have to provide me. And so we went through everything, all the logistics, and thankfully it went okay. The night before, I did it like a mic test. So I did like a mock trial of how it would sound. And, I was telling him, turn it down a little bit, turn it up. And it was a learning experience with that, because that was pretty cool to go in there and work with all the different people that made that event happen. And it was so well organized, and it was an amazing event to be a part of, because you had the best players from the KHL there together, and a lot of guys you don't see because of the conferences. You only play them once or twice. And so it was a really cool event. But yeah, that's kind of how it came about. They're really persistent, and I gave in because I didn't know if I said no, I'd go into the KHL game or not.
Exactly. You're like, well, I'm going to play guitar. They're going to keep me in the game. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I thought of like, the positive aspect is that you can show that, especially, people that are just hockey fans, they don't realize, the lives that people have outside of hockey. They just see the hockey player. They just see the person on the ice and what they do for the team or how they act and stuff like that on the ice. But I wanted to show that hockey players have a lot more depth, and we have ambitions, we have talents other than hockey, we have things that we care about and hobbies that, can make us interesting people. And we're not just, one-dimensional humans. So I think that that's kind of another thing that drove me to do that. And it was funny because then you see a couple weeks later or whatever it was for the NHL, and I see my buddy Mathew Maoine playing guitar and singing and stuff like that. So it was kind of humbling to see the NHL kind of follow suit to try to entertain the fans and showcase the guys' other talents, and it kind of brands the game a little bit more and gets people more engaged. And I was pleasantly surprised with all the positive feedback that I received from it.
So I guess, Matthew, that kind of leads into my next question is, the North American game is, or one of the biggest criticisms with the NHL has always been it's very team-focused and not individual-focused. Then we have you playing your guitar and the KHL kind of showcasing you as an individual. Do you ever foresee the NHL kind of adapting some of that culture to help sell the game, or is it just team-focused, never going to change?
I think that's a difficult question for me to answer because I've never played in the NHL, and I don't know how it is in those locker rooms. I don't know how the pressure and what the different things that are expected of them. I can't imagine they'd be any different than the KHL with the amount of pressure to perform and to conduct yourself in a respectful manner. But I think that with the European mindset, I think it is a little bit different than the North American mindset, whereas individual talents and individual skill is maybe showcased a little bit more. I'm not quite sure why that is, if they appreciate it more or it's more of an entertainment aspect. But for sure, I agree with the North American mentality that team first and all that that you're getting taught at such a young age is that because you are successful as an individual on a team when the team is successful. I'm looking at all the years that I did well personally. We were very successful as a team. And, if you're playing on a good team, you're more likely to get more points. You're more likely to be on the power play. You're more likely to be in the offensive zone, showcasing those talents, if you have those offensive talents, more rather than if you're on a team that isn't as strong and you're defending more. You're wasting your energy defending rather than being on the offense with the puck rather than without. And so I think that would be my bad answer for you. I can't say that. It's very difficult for me to touch on something I've never been a part of. But I really like what the NHL did. I mean, you see Holtby, you see all these different guys that can play. I knew that Lundqvist could play guitar and stuff like that, but it doesn't always have to be music. It could be like Gomez was into poetry. He would write poetry, and there's different guys that have different levels to them and dimensions that make them interesting and make them who they are. So I think that could be something that they can definitely be a driving force to create some more traction for marketing purposes.
Excellent.
Well, Matthew, before we get you out of here, Justen has a game that he'd like you to play. Actually, you don't have a choice. You are playing it. So we hope you're ready. It's called Would You Rather, and we'll take it away.
All right. So the game is very simple. Every 16-year-old has probably played this at some drinking venue. It's called Would You Rather. And the objective is this. I'm going to give you two options, and you suggest which one you rather do. And you can give a little bit of a spiel on why you would select that choice. All right. You ready for this? All right, some of these are pretty interesting. All right. With the KHL lifestyle and being Canadian, would you rather have a lifetime supply of poutine with the real curds, not the McDonald's stuff, or a lifetime supply of potato vodka?
I would say the potato vodka.
Ooh, and why, good sir?
Why? Well, I mean, depends on if it's a lump sum or if it's because I would prefer to store the potato vodka, and if anything, it would be beluga. So that would be my short but answer.
Oh my god, that was brilliant! I thought you were going to go with poutine. Second question: with your talents as both a hockey player and a musician, would you rather win a Grammy or win a gold medal for Canada Cup?
Gold medal. There's no question about that.
That's what I thought. That was an easy pass there.
Yeah.
We want to make sure. You could surprise me. You do with the poutine. Okay. So this is somebody that I think Nia actually wrote this question. Would you rather shave all of your hair or lose all your teeth?
I'd shave my hair. It's going to grow back. Unfortunately, it'll look the same. It doesn't matter if it takes a year or not, but it's going to come back. Yeah.
That's what I thought too, but I was like, I don't know, maybe they have crazy dental over in Russia. I'm not sure how that works.
Well, it's cheaper, that's for sure, but is it...
everything is cheaper in Europe. When I was doing a tour in Germany for comedy, they're just like, yeah, our phone plan's like $5 and you get everything. I'm like,
oh, it's amazing. The phone plans it's crazy how... And especially in Latvia, it's like one of the best Wi-Fi like internets in the world.
So I heard about that and I wanted to comment as soon as you said Latvia. I'm like, oh, that's going to make no sense out of context.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
No problem.
Okay, so would you rather be a mascot for a day or a Zamboni driver?
Zamboni driver. I've never driven it.
But you've been a mascot?
You can say that I still am a mascot.
Fair.
Of sorts.
Of sorts, all right. Okay, would you rather train very early in the morning, like 3-4 a.m., or very late at night?
In the morning.
You're a morning guy?
Yeah, I'm up early in the morning anyway, so it's a couple hours won't make a difference to me.
All right, okay, and last question. If you could have one player, alive or dead, on your team that you could pass to at all times, and you guys are playing the same first line, who would it be? That's something really
Connor McDavid.
Yes! Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't even a would you rather question, but that was just a question in general. Oh.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he's unbelievable. I'm on the ice with him every summer, and it's just unbelievable how fast he is and how he can turn it on. I think that's one of the best things I've seen.
Well, Matthew, hopefully we get to see you in Beijing in 2022. We appreciate your time this afternoon. And why don't you just remind our audience where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at real Mathew Maoine on Instagram, and at Twitter it's at @maione18. So my TikTok's not that great right now, so I don't push it.
You're doing better than me. I don't play with TikTok at all.
I'll be completely honest with you guys.
It's all good, mate.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for watching. This is Toronto Talk Sports and More. For the love of the six, let's connect.
Thank you for watching. Please click the like button and leave us a comment with your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications to see more engaging and interactive content. Toronto Talk Sports and More. For the love of the six, let's connect.